Hi everyone. Today in Lambda Pool we are talking about a risky and powerful technique named operators overload. Enjoy the video.
Well, so let's get started. In programming, operator overload, less commonly known as operator ad hoc polymorphism, is a specific case of polymorphism where different operators have different implementations depending on their arguments. Operator overloading is generally defined by the language, the programmer, or both. The concept of overloading operators started with Algol language in the 60th decade. The operator overloading is considered synthetic sugar and is used because it allows the developer to program using notation closer to the target domain and allows user-defined types as similar level of syntactic support as types built into the language. It's common, for example, in scientific computing, where it allows computational representations of mathematical objects to be manipulated with the same syntax as on paper. Can be unary or binary. In other words, can be applied to only one value or two. For example, the AND operator is considered binary because it acts on both sides, left and right. The operator uses infix notation, or else the plus plus operator is considered prefix or postfix. When it comes after the variable is considered prefix, otherwise is named postfix. About support languages, well, Java can support operator overload at all, just like languages as C, Pascal, and JavaScript. This feature is exclusive for languages like Prolog, Scala, and C++, whose supports extensively the use of overloading. Our hands-on today will about sum of fractions using the formula here, this formula from the basics arithmetic, and let's see with a hands-on how to achieve that calculations using operators overloading. The sample was provided by Scala functional course from coursera.org. You can check it out. This course and reference provided and is very recommended that you take it for more deep inside the language. First of all, let's create a new project. Name it operator. We create a new worksheet with the name rational. Let's define a class name rational. In the constructor we'll pass two parameters, the numerator and the denominator. Remember, this object itself is immutable. You can't change these values after the creation. Inside the class we define the real numerator and denominator receiving the parameters from the constructor itself is considered a function for Scala. And let's create a new function, name it add, and establish the calculation for adding two rational numbers from the basic arithmetic lessons formula. We multiply the denominator from the other with numerator from this instance. After we sum with the multiplication of the another numerator with this denominator and return a new rational. Let's see how to do that. Well, we defined the function add, and let's override the toString function from the string class for see what happens in a easier way. For testing purpose, we create an object test and try to add two rationals using this function add. Okay, so we have two fractions become the result is 949 and means 1. So let's rewrite this operation for plus and not more add. So it will happen the same thing here. It changes anything in the results. including we can check it out that the original plus operator was not changed because it receives two integers here. So we have operator for rational numbers here and the original here, just like the same as before. From the Alvin Alexander blog, you can see a very odd sample on how to rewrite even defined standard operations like println. You can, for example, rename it to something else, or in the sample they rewrite for echo having the same behavior for standard print. We don't have to say how bad it can be if it's not well communicated for the other people work with you at same project. The main risks using operators overloading is that we can define a top function, hidden it, and start using a lot of exotic operators, leading the system to a mess of operators overload and abusing this technique. New developers should know about any overloading, and those functions must be known by all teammates and properly documented in somehow, or else your system can be hard to maintain in long terms. See ya on the next video and take care.